morning, everyone. This is Joe Metzger coming to you from our Wednesday morning Truckee Meadows Networking Group. Our speaker today is Barbara, and Barbara's going to tell us all about real estate investment. Barbara, please take it away.
Good morning, everybody. This is Barb Allen. We're with Truckee Meadows Networking Group, and I'm the resident real estate agent here for Solid Source Realty. And I want to talk to you just a little bit about real estate investment. It's going to be, just a wide coverage of why I think it's good and why I think you should do it too. Is it safe? I think real estate investment is a very safe way to go. In fact, real estate investing is safe and secured by the asset itself. Rarely will you see your investment lose value, and if so, it's usually only for a short period of time. My investing, if I bought a house, 30 years ago for $100,000, it's worth like $500,000 now. And that's a pretty safe bet. It's and it has dipped before, but it's never like gone away overnight like some other kind of investments do. I get this question a lot, what's going to happen? There's going to be another crash like '08. And I imagine there'll be some leveling out at some point. I don't think there's going to be another crash. What happened in '08 was the deregulation of the financial industry by the Federal Reserve. They passed the 1999 Graham-Leach-Billy Act. And it deregulated everything, so anybody could go in and just say, I want a loan on a house. Well, what do? I paint numbers on sidewalks for $10 an hour. And they could just, without qualifying really under normal standards, could get a loan for that house. And so people were getting all kinds of loans on houses, and then when the economy kind of crashed, people couldn't pay those high rents anymore. They had vacancies in their rentals, and then they lost those houses. And things are way different now. Things are much more regulated. And if I have any of that wrong, we have a gal named Melanie Galvin in here for Fairway Mortgage, and she can answer those questions for you better than I can, but I really don't think there's going to be another '08 crash. And this is kind of more of an explanation to some private mortgages. Interest rates went crazy. It's no longer like that. There's more restrictions placed on people, and they have to be properly underwritten in order to get their loans nowadays. Okay. Some of the good things about owning real estate, and there's a ton of them, so I'm just going to cover them just a little bit. Appreciation. So your asset not only appreciates naturally with the market, but you can also force appreciation. This is by adding things of value like new windows, a new roof, or renovations. These increase the value. When selling, can also increase your rents. So if I buy a house that's run down, and it doesn't have to be like a new kitchen for $100,000. I mean, a tenant will like just a new toilet for $100 can really improve the way the place looks. You can paint the house. I have painted literally dozens of houses, and as long as I live, I will never paint another house again. But it really improves the feeling that your tenants get when they walk into a house and go, oh my, it smells like somebody really cares in here. You know what I mean? The place looks good. And so you can force appreciation, and never mind, the house is going up I bought a house 20 years ago. It's worth double what it was 20 years ago. So it appreciates like that, and then I can make it look better. I can zero-scape and make it easier for my tenants, easier to take care of. Okay. So next, I think it's important to diversify. If you just look at your own group of friends, and maybe we're a pretty financially savvy group in here, but many people never invest, and the ones who do rarely venture from the stock market. Real estate is a hands-on investment. You decide where you put your money. You decide whom you will rent to, or to whom you will rent. I tried to do this like very shishi grammar one. So I know that I invested in the stock market a little bit, and I hand my money to this guy that I don't know too well. And over the last 10 years, he made me a ton of money. And then over the last year, I've lost a ton of money. And it's all out of my hands because I'm not going to spend the time to learn about the stock market. It's too much for me. I can't handle it. But I can handle. I drive by my house and I look at it, or the condos, or whatever you're going to invest in, and I can touch it and feel it and see what's going on with it. And I can decide, I need to put new lawn in here. I need to put a new front door on, make it look better. Like that, I understand. The stock market is confusing to me, and I don't even want to have to deal with it. Other good reasons to invest in real estate. Property tax deductions. So generally, property taxes are eligible to be deducted from your state and federal taxes. So that's the first one. Travel costs associated with your investment. So if you have a condo across town or in Carson City, you can write that mileage off every time. So I go by my places at least once a month. And if they're vacant, I'm going by there 2 or 3 times a day sometimes. I'm going to Lowe's, and I'm going to all the different places. I write down everything I do. I'm going to go by those places. Cost of repairs and maintenance, can write that off. I put a new toilet in for $100, I write off a toilet for $100. Maintenance, if I have to have people go over every year, and so like $100 a house to look at the furnace and stuff like that, and I write that off. Depreciation, a little more complicated, I'll get into that in the next slide. And legal and management services, I have never had to hire an attorney. But I have taken a few people who didn't want to leave, and I got them to leave. So I had to pay for like messenger services and court fees and stuff like that, but nothing major, because I do everything so detailed when I'm renting my houses out that nothing comes back to bite me in the ass, because it's very, very clear. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more. Okay, writing off, like some things you write off, like if you put on a roof for $20,000, you take off a piece of that, what you pay for every year. You don't take $20,000 that year. So it's a little more complicated than just I buy this, I write this off. But for smaller things like dishwashers and stuff, and qualifying assets under $5,000, you can write that off the same year. So generally, if I redo a bathroom, it'll be under $5,000, and I can do one the next year, and I can do one, you know what I mean? So that's how I do that. Okay, depreciation. This has been like slammed into my head since I was a child, since my family's a real estate family. Depreciation, how does it work? People want to know. Say you bought a house for $500,000, okay? And a house is something built by man that's going to eventually fall apart and disappear, they say. The land, which is about $90,000 of that $500K, does not disappear. It's land. It's not going anywhere. So the government lets you do this imaginary figure where they say the house, you build a house and it's going to last 27 and a half years and it's going to be crumbled and gone by then. We know that's not true, but that's what they let you do. If you take that $410,000 and divide it by the lifespan of the house, the imaginary lifespan, by 27 and a half years, you get about almost $15,000 a year. You can write that off every year. And that's incredible. So that's a huge tax break you get right there. So right there, that works out to about 3.6% of the loan amount. You figure if loans are going up to 6% or something like that, you're still only paying, 4 point whatever. If you do the math yourself, I'm not here for math. And so that's a pretty incredible investment. This is a really not easy way, but understandable way to create generational wealth. Years ago, my parents bought a bunch of houses with assumable loans, and I bought my first house with an assumable loan. I give somebody some money, I take over their loan, and then I own this house. And what the plan was to buy one house a year and then sell one house a year and die. And then instead, my family bought one house a year and was able to pay off one house every year. 7 minutes? Okay, thank you. And then just now collect money. And so that money, those houses now we own, and when we get enough money, we buy another rental house. And so that's made it so someday, I might be rich. We'll see. I got a lot of work to do. Key takeaways, the stepped-up basis. Okay, the stepped-up basis, I want to talk to you about this. So I buy a house, and then I'm like, I paid off this house, now it's worth $500,000. I think I'll sell it. You have to recapture that depreciation. It's not just free and clear. I get to sell my asset, and it's mine. No, you got all those tax breaks. You have to pay back those tax breaks. And it's not it's like being taxed on the tax amount that you're at, the level you're at. So they don't take every $15,000, but they take a chunk of that, like 30% if you're in that tax bracket. But if I keep that house and I leave it to my son, when he gets it at $500,000. He doesn't have to pay back the depreciation. Now that's a great thing that we've had for a long time, because the benefits of the stepped-up basis mostly accrue to the wealthiest households. Opponents have tried to limit or eliminate the provision in recent years without success, and I hope it stays that way, because my parents, and I know a lot of people that started with nothing, and they worked and they got these houses, and it shouldn't be taken away from them for their hard work. It's taxed to billionaires. Okay, these are two of my favorite quotes about real estate. Franklin Delano Roosevelt: "Real estate cannot be stolen, or lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care, it is about the safest investment in the world." I agree with that. And then Andrew Carnegie said 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. So it's something that, you have to get a little capital up at the beginning, but it's something that you can do without having to understand the stock market and without having to get a bunch of partners together and do. It's just very cut and dry, and I really like it. There's a 5-year-old picture of me, really big. Barb Allen, Solid Source Realty. You can reach me on Facebook. My number is 775-848-1281. On Google and all that kind of stuff. And I hope to hear from you. Call me. Thank you.